welcome back to the Tiny Human Handbook. My name's Ellen, and today we're going to be talking about 2-month-olds. So this is going to be between 8 and 12 weeks old. We're going to talk all about practical gifts for a 2-month-old. Now, it's important to keep gifts for this age range practical and engaging. I'm sure you're here because you're looking for the perfect thing for a 2-month-old, and today we're going to be getting to know all about that 2-month-old stage of development, as well as what their interests may be, their preferences, and what things will be practical for them. I'm excited to explore this topic, especially talking about supporting development. I love child development, early child development especially, so that's why I'm making this series on appropriate gifts, appropriate toys, and things that each stage of development is going to be totally into. I've got a background in early childhood education, development. I've studied different age ranges. I've read some books recently on each stage of development. So we are going to dive into the topic, starting with what is it like to be 2 months old, and talk all about that stage of development to help you decide on perfect practical gifts for them. I'll provide some ideas and suggestions as well, but ultimately, you're going to do the hard work of choosing what fits best after you have a good understanding of how to make that decision. One of the biggest challenges with 2-month-olds is they're expressing their needs and expressing their feelings and frustration primarily with crying. Being 2 months old or having a 2-month-old is particularly challenging. One significant point of development for 2-month-olds is an increase in the circumference of their skull. Their brain is really growing right around the 8-week mark. If you've had a pediatrician appointment for the 2-month age, I know they measured that head and they're looking for a significant growth from the newborn stage. And of course, their communication is really restricted just to crying. At this age, parents can find 2-month-olds to be very fussy, often are really worried. Parents of 2-month-olds, they're wondering, is something wrong? Am I doing something wrong that my child is fussing and crying so much at this stage? They may even go to the pediatrician to ask about colic, or if they've got enough milk production, or other things. Sleep even can be disrupted for this age range. Being 2 months old, well, let's take a look at that. What is it like to be a 2-month-old? Prior to this, newborns, 1-month-olds, they are just experiencing the universe as one with themselves. At that stage of brain development, they don't have a sense of self, limbs that they have control over. They are experiencing the world primarily with their reflexes. So they've got ingrained behaviors there to help them survive, that they're not controlling themselves, involuntary movements that are going to help them survive in the world. But now we've reached the 2-month stage, and at this point, our brain's developing, and we've made the crucial discovery of our limbs. And these are going to be our first play objects. So fingers and toes, our hands and our legs, our arms and our feet. These are our first toys. We'll get to toy suggestions later on, and I will have some for you. But just now at 2 months old, you've just discovered these things. So up until now, you've had no idea that you could have any control over anything in the world. And all of a sudden, one day you woke up and you realize it feels different when I move my arms against gravity, or I move my legs up. Whatever movements you're making, you're feeling those. You're reacting and noticing your internal sensations and what that feels like. At the same time, you're experiencing things external to yourself. So you've got sight, which still blurry, but now you are interested in faces, contrasting colors, bright red. Those are things that can draw your attention. Smells. Some smells may be too strong and you'll turn your head away. Sounds, and you might even recognize familiar rhythm. You might be interested in listening to some music or the sweet sound of your mama's voice. Tastes, there's a huge variety of tastes and breast milk, so many things, all brand new. And then we've also got touch. And so this is a great time, if you haven't already, to introduce infant massage. And now that's not a deep tissue massage by any means. Maybe in a warm space, the mother does a nice back rub or pats on the back. You can feel down the arms, the legs, massages like that. Maybe I'll even do another video about infant massage. Parents, remember when your little one is causing extra fuss, seeming to need all of the attention in the world, maybe winding down with a little infant massage is a good idea. And now I know a lot of people might have common concerns about finding appropriate developmental activities and toys for this age range. And now there are some developmentally appropriate toys for 2-month-olds. Unlike prior to this, there really wasn't anything that a 1-month-old would be too interested in. Now we're getting to the point of play gems and any hanging objects overhead. So mobiles, they have ones that are black and white. It doesn't need to be anything too extravagant. Something like that's going to catch their attention. I know you might have heard the familiar trope that this age range loves ceiling fans, especially if you have a contrasting color. Just being in that held in arms position or laying on a play mat, you're looking up at the beautiful ceiling fans spinning in that beautiful pattern, contrasting the color behind it. That's one of my son's favorite things when he was at that age. Yes, he grew out of it, but back when he was 2 months old, his friend Mr. Ceiling Fan or the tree swaying in the breeze were his favorite things. He would stare at them and look at them all day. And now it's important here to choose toys that are going to stimulate and encourage that development, because the number one toy or plaything or activity that a little 2-month-old could want is going to be one-on-one time with their mom. That's always my first recommendation for a gift for this age range. Anything that you can give to the family to help the mother spend more time one-on-one with the baby. So if you're doing the laundry, if you're ordering some food or cooking, delivering a meal, that is going to be the number one gift for that little one. They get more time with their mom, playing, chatting, maybe playing in the bath, whatever fun activity they like. Spending that one-on-one time is going to be the most important thing. This age, babies love faces. They can recognize their mother's face. They can recognize the smiles. They can differentiate between their mother and somebody that they haven't seen as often. And a lot of parents worry, and this was one of my worries when my son was 2 months old, was like some shyness. And whenever we were out and seeing family that we don't see as often, he would just want to cuddle up with me, which made me worried and feel badly that, you know, other people were coming to visit him and they wanted to hug and hang out and cuddle and look at him and talk to him and get to know him. But he really wasn't ready for it. He wanted to cuddle up with me. When others were around, he was uneasy at best. As he grew and got older, that went away, but at 2 months old, it was a high sense of wanting to be just with me. We're looking at gifts. My list of things would be mobiles, play gems, and those are going to be little arches that support toys that can hang and dangle overhead. My son loved this play gem that had a little piano at the end, so he was just discovering that he had feet, and when his feet hit the piano, he felt that sensation, and hearing the little songs that it made, and it also did some lights as well. That was his favorite one, but we had so many and they were all really great. You're gonna wanna look for one that does have bright colors, and at this age, believe it or not, 2-month-olds can start to show their preferences for colors, sounds, people, all of that. And it might sound unbelievable that a baby that young, only 2 months old, so tiny, could have a favorite color. It seems hard to believe, and I didn't believe it myself until the pattern showed itself over and over again. He got older and older and was still going for the same colors first if he had a choice. So my son really loved orange, and anytime he was picking something out, he grabbed the orange one first, like 90% of the time. Still his favorite, and I wonder how long that'll last, but that's them showing their personality, and it might be hard to recognize when it's the first time or the second time, but look for it. See, are they more excited to hear one song over another? Do they like one color toy over another? One sound over another? It's all really interesting, and as you're starting to get to know your child, you can see this patterns start to emerge. And at the same time, they are learning about patterns emerging as well. So in the Wonder Weeks, if you've read that book that I do recommend, that talks about different stages of development, you'll see see that kids around this age are going into the world of patterns. So they're starting to recognize familiar faces. They're recognizing familiar sounds. Was there a song that you played while they were in the womb? Maybe play it again and see if they recognize it. They can start to recognize different people that they see all the time, even smells. Of course, they can't communicate and show you very well that they do. How interesting is it to think that they might? So we talked about play gyms, and maybe your little one or the little one that you're looking to get a gift for already has a play gym. You've also got mobiles or things that dangle overhead. One thing that my son really liked at this age was a little rocker, sort of like a bouncer. He'd lay in the seat, and he was able to figure out around this age that if he brought his legs in to pump the motion of the swing, he could get the rocker to rock back and forth. So that's just one of the things at this stage of development that they're learning. It seems amazing. You know, you wouldn't think that a child so young could pick up on learning a skill like that. Oftentimes rockers do have little attachments that have little dangly toys that might be interesting to them. Another cool idea, just something to provide a little extra visual interest while they're moving their arms around and exploring and figuring out that sensation. Little ribbons of different colors or contrasting stripes or zigzags. You can have them laying on their back and they're trying to exercise their arms and their legs, and bonus points if they're doing it unrestricted by clothing, if it's warm enough. That was my favorite way to do it. We even would do it diaper free. We'd put out a big shower curtain that we weren't using anymore, waterproof of course, and so Cullen could lay on it free of any restrictions from clothing or diapers, and experience his body moving and get comfortable with that, and you know, take on that as a learning challenge for the day. It was a really fun experience, and that was when he seemed to be happiest, and he still seems to be happiest if he's in the middle of a diaper change and he's able to run away completely free. We even we wrote him a little song about not liking to wear clothes, just because that's how he likes to experience the world. Of course, just at home when we go out, he wears his clothes just as you might expect. They also have mittens with little balls or bells or colors, so you can get the same experience that way. But just to add a little visual interest and extra fun to that playtime, try tying a little ribbon over their wrist or their legs. Another idea is a music box. So Cullen has a little carousel that plays music if you wind it up and it spins around. So similar and kind of mimicking that ceiling fan idea, which was his all-time favorite, and I don't know if you could top it, but a music box that has a little spinning figurine and a song that plays, a really fun activity for a 2-month-old. Then they might seem too young for it, and you might think that it's breakable and beyond their experience. And since it's spinning, it's going to be attracting their attention just because they're recognizing that pattern. When you're picking one out, look for contrast. Is the figurine spinning around a contrasting color to what's behind it or below it? Use that to inspire you, and use that to inspire you if that's what you're thinking about choosing for the little one. And I just want to provide some reassurance that no matter what you decide, it's really the thought behind it, that you're thinking about their development, you're thinking about a practical gift for them, something that they can use that's right at the right stage for them. So if this video was helpful, go ahead and give it a like, leave me a comment down below, and share it with another new parent or somebody else in your life that may be interacting with little ones at this age. Make sure you subscribe as well, because we're doing a whole series, and as your little one gets older, we're going to be looking at other developmental toys and milestones and things for you to be aware of to help with any challenges during that time. So thanks for watching, everybody, and goodbye.